Hi, hi, hi.
Hello! I was going to wait for Sam to start first today. This is part of our mini series, Menopause mini series. Like the mini series is probably going to end up being the maximum series.
Yeah, we might carry on into 2027 with what we've got going on here.
Let us start by saying thank you so much to every single person that has reached out to us about the podcast. Mostly the biggest one, I think, so far has been about strength training and bone density. And so many women have reached out to us here, Australia, in regards to what should I be doing, messaging, private questions, what do I need to do here, how many reps should I be doing, blah, blah, blah. So guess what? We're going to mix things up a little bit and we're going to fully dive deep today just into exercise alone. Is that right?
Yeah,
Like, correct me if I'm wrong, because it is a
completely
little bit
exercise.
later. So there could be a lot of slurring with my words today, a lot of forgetfulness, but don't worry about it.
It's
It's
just
just
menopause.
menopause, all right? It's just normally we do the podcast first thing in the morning. My speech is less slurred, so I'll apologize in advance if I start slurring my words. No, I haven't been drinking.
Yeah,
Just to
just
be clear,
the only
many,
thing that's
many
been
days I feel like I need a drink.
just water. Just water.
So during exercise during menopause, what do we do? How do we do it? What should we be doing exactly? Like, is it just all about resistance training? Can I still do some really hard cardio stuff? Where does flexibility fit into all of that?
Yeah. So let's dive deep into how you can use exercise and movement to empower you during menopause. This is actually a tool that you
Mm.
should be using. You must be using if you're looking to have a better um, outcome and better
Mm.
sort of, what do you call it, support of all the symptoms, like to reduce some of those symptoms that you're getting and to come out the other side of this stronger and better than your friends or your family that might be going through it at the same time. Because there's a huge benefit to exercise during menopause, and we're going to dive into that today.
I know that you got some notes here. Sam has little notes on board so that I don't get distracted and get off track, even though I still do. I like to be a little bit of a rebel. 20% of doctors, 20% of doctors in America recommend that their clients do exercise.
20.
20%.
Bloody hell.
20%. I'm telling you 100%. You need to do some form of exercise. Otherwise, you are at higher risk of disease and you're at higher risk of aging unnecessarily fast. Like we just
Mm-mm-mm.
don't want that, right? So you definitely got to get your ass off the couch and you got to go and do something. And we're going to tell you exactly what that looks like, but no sitting around and doing nothing because it
It doesn't
ages you
help.
so much quicker. It increases your chances like twofold of your organs having an impact through disease. We don't want that for you.
No.
So get the body moving, be metabolically active, build the muscle, use the muscle.
And
Okay.
as we've all heard, the quote, if you don't use it, you lose it. That's 100% right when it comes to exercise. If you're not moving, you're going to end up stiff and sedentary and unable to move because everything's going to seize up, everything's going to become weak, everything's going to have problems. You're not going to be able to
Mm.
stand up off the couch anymore because you're going to lose all your strength in your muscles and there's going to be pain in your knees and your hips and everywhere else. So if you don't move it, you lose it.
And
And
unfortunately, like so many women are choosing to lose it.
mm,
And I think like it's not a judgment. It's we're tired. Our appetite increases, our energy decreases. Like
time.
everything is just it's escalated and a woman are not understanding why. And we've spoke at length about estrogen and progesterone and the decline with those hormones as well as testosterone. So please go back and learn all about them. This is not your fault.
No,
This is not your fault. But if you're still not exercising by next week, next year, and after you've listened to this, that is your fault. It's your problem that you're going to age faster than most other people out there. So we're going to give you the tools today because we don't want you to be that person. Okay.
absolutely. And the thing is, what we know now is that with menopause, it's like a storm of changes happens all at
Mm,
once. You get the weight gain, you get the mood swings, you
mm.
get the joint aches, you get the fatigue, you get the dryness, you get the brain fog, you get the sleepless
Irritability,
nights, you get the
sore
stomach,
shoulders.
abdominal fat and fat that's showing up in places you've never seen before.
Mm.
There's frozen shoulder. Oh my God, the list is massive. So episode 1, we talked about all the symptoms, and there's 72 symptoms that you have.
I think 5
right?
women alone have come up to us since we started this series with frozen shoulder.
Yeah.
They've
Came out of
personally come up
nowhere.
to us and said, "Oh my God, I had no idea." And we were like, to be honest, we had no idea. 12 months ago, we had no idea. So we started researching and training and getting more knowledge about menopause. Mind blowing. But 5 women just in our club alone. So how many women are just suffering with one symptom that they haven't been able to get fixed because it's not related to the joint necessarily. It's related to low estrogen. Okay, I promise I'm not going to interrupt as much.
But the good news is that lifestyle changes, especially exercise, play a powerful role in navigating this sort of phase more smoothly and giving you better outcomes and less pain and less fatigue and less joint aches and less mood swings and better weight control. Like all of this, you actually have control over these things if you choose to take action. And I know you are, because you guys are listening to this, you're action takers. Because some people saw this and went, oh, I must listen to that. And then they never did. So if you know somebody out there who said they're going to listen to this podcast and then they haven't, just ask them, have you listened to the podcast? And they'll go, oh, no, I've been too busy, blah, blah, blah. Make them listen to it. Because once you know, you can't unknow.
Yeah, but also women need to know this, right? So today we've got some science-based strategies and real simple, actionable tips to help you fuel your body, stay strong, and feel great. No, we're not going to do fuel. Are we going to do fuel?
We're fueling your body with energy.
Okay, fuel, we're going to do nutrition
next week. We'll talk about food and nutrition and what you're eating.
So let me this week backtrack. Fueling your body with exercise, not fueling it with nutrition. Yeah. Wrong use of language. Okay.
So movement, it's more than just exercise, right? It's a powerful tool to manage symptoms. Skyrocket your energy. Like, I don't know anybody that's joined the gym and hasn't come to me after 1 week, 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, I have so much more energy. And you notice when they walk in from being a non-exerciser to having done a week or 2 at the gym, the light, the brightness in their eyes, the energy.
I can't make eye contact. Like when people arrive, it's just like down and out and everything's on top of them. The whole world is bringing their shoulders down. And then when they allocate time for themselves, the energy, the frequency just changes. It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It's one of the things that we love. And we know that when someone walks in for the first time, they'll be a completely different person in just 1 or 2 weeks of just showing up.
Love it.
So cool. But it's also going to help protect your body against the chronic diseases that Ursh mentioned at the beginning, because exercise is essential to help your body function properly. Now, research shows that the right physical exercise or activity can balance your hormones, and they can melt away your stress, or helps with stress, doing the right stuff.
I don't know if it melts, but it reduces it. For me personally, I'm speaking from my own personal experience.
But the other thing is it also helps you actually get a good night's sleep. So that's another thing we notice when people first start exercise plan at the gym, they trouble with sleeping and trouble with energy. And within that first 7 to 10 days, they go, oh my gosh, I'm sleeping so much better. So it's a really important part of actually being physically active, moving. Some people think of exercise as punishment, as like killing yourself, like throwing heavy things around and, like really trying to kill yourself and do burpees 500 times.
No.
Like doing 500 burpees. Like that's craziness. We're talking about movement and using your body the way it was designed to be used.
So let's let's jump into the 2 types of exercise that is basically essential in the role when we transition through menopause. Number 1 is weight training and resistance training. Number 2 is cardiovascular. And then I think we need to talk about flexibility,
flexibility
and mobility.
Well.
Yeah, let's do that.
Very important. Now, each one has a very unique purpose, and it's really important that you get the balance between all 3 to have full well-being. You can't just do one thing and hope that everything else is going to fall into line. You need to focus on all 3.
You cardio junkies. Being that person, right? If you're just a cardio junkie, a gym junkie, listen up. This is for you.
Okay. So let's talk about the weight bearing and the resistance training. So weight bearing and resistance training are among the most effective ways to counteract the physical changes of menopause. So they are the most effective ways to help your body to overcome what menopause is doing to you, which includes your muscle loss, because and we'll talk about that. Your reduced bone density, like we've talked about these before, so we're just kind of summarizing again, and then we're going to go deeper. Bone density, muscle loss, and a slowing metabolism, and you start getting more body fat that you never used to have before.
And I guess resistance training also positively impacts hormone regulation, and let's be honest, it's vital at this stage in life, like vital.
Now, why does weight bearing or resistance training or like they're kind of different matter? One, it combats muscle loss. Two, bone density. Three, the hormone benefits. And four, your metabolism and the ability to burn fat. So let's talk about combating the muscle loss.
Yeah.
So I think it was episode 3. We talked about how your bone density
I was actually
changes.
seriously trying to think what was in each. Not the day to do that, Ish.
So sarcopenia is when you lose muscle, and it happens when you age. So muscle mass decreases as you get older, right? And the
Due to the
process,
estrogen.
yeah, and the process accelerates even more after menopause because your estrogen levels are so low, right? So on average, women lose like between 3 and 8% of their muscle mass per decade after the age of 30.
That's pretty significant.
So it's a big chunk.
And why do we do that? Is it
Well, because your estrogen levels are dropped, right? So you're getting old.
it's linked to a slower metabolism
Yeah.
and increased fat accumulation?
Can you believe it?
Damn it! Woman have it hard, man. Women have it so hard.
So resistance training stimulates your muscle protein. I'm going to give you a little bit of science. I wrote this down because I don't want to get this wrong. Resistance training stimulates muscle protein synthesis, which helps you to maintain and even rebuild muscle.
There we go.
So when you're doing resistance training, you can start to maintain what you got and potentially build more, right? There was a study that was done in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning, found that post-menopausal women who do resistance training twice a week increase their muscle strength by 25% in just 16 weeks. That's big.
Hello. 25%
increase. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. Like I know some people that come to the gym and they come to the gym for 2 weeks. They come and they do three or four workouts for 2 weeks, and then they turn around, it didn't work.
And I've also got to be very clear. We're not talking about those little handheld weights, like the one in the 2 kilos. They normally come in like a little pink or a green color or something. No, you can start there, but you need to move up quite quickly.
Yeah.
All right. So what's some of the exercises?
So practical examples of exercises you need to look at, like squats and lunges and push-ups using either your body weight or dumbbells. So you're trying to use big muscle groups and you're challenging yourself. You can incorporate things like your gym machines or resistance bands for variety, and then you can add progression onto that.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Some of you are like, yes, but my hips are sore, my knees are sore. You can do them against a wall. You can use a Swiss ball up against a wall. You can start to slowly increase your range of motion. So you're not squatting like you were 20, baby. Like some of you may be squatting like you were 20. Ain't no way. This postmenopausal woman, she ain't squatting like she was 20.
No.
Like, I can't do it anymore. And I'm okay with that. Some days just squatting is a mission. Sometimes walking up the damn stairs is a mission. So be respectful of when you start this journey. Have compassion and kindness for yourself. Don't go back like your 20-year-old self and think,
I'm going to squat 45 kilo bar over my shoulder and drop all the way down to a low squat. That's nuts.
No. How many sets and reps?
You should be doing 2 to 3 sets, and you want to do about 8 to 12 reps. No more than 12 repetitions. It's got to be short and it's got to be heavy. So you've got to make sure that the resistance that you're using is really challenging you. And then you'll notice your strength gains come really quickly, and you'll be able to increase that weight. Now, this is not going to turn you into Arnold Schwarzenegger, I promise you, right? This is not.
Wish so. Hey, like wish could have muscle like that.
We just don't have the hormones, guys. We just don't have the hormones to do that. But what we do have is the ability to build more muscle strength, not bulk. So you're not going to turn out big and buffy, but your muscles, instead of being soft and squishy, are going to be firm and tight. So you know how you always say you want to get toned, you want to lose weight and feel toned. This is the way to do it. 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 12 repetitions for each set, and a heavy weight that's challenging you, and start at the right level. Like you said, don't start at 10 kilos because you did it in 1974, right? Start at like 3 or 4, and then build as quickly as you can. Keep growing.
And a little tip for people that do struggle with quite rapid muscle fatigue. I struggle with my liver condition. I can't have a lot of lactate acid in my body. So I do reps of 4 to 6. All right. So if you're struggling with joint pain, or if it's just too hard for you to get to 8 to 12, you can come back down. I've done a couple of sessions in the last month where I've done reps of 4. That's it. That's as much as my body can handle on the day. I'm still doing the strength training for my ability and what I'm going through right now in my life. So please just be okay to look after you. Look after you. Not more is better, less is best. So bring those reps down and go a little bit harder, heavier.
Now, the other thing is the improved bone density. So we've talked about bone density, but there's more to it. Estrogen is essential for the bone density. And because our estrogen drops, it makes it very hard to maintain the bone density. And its decline during menopause significantly will increase your risk of osteoporosis, which is when your bones become really brittle. And then when you fall in your old age, you break your hip, you break you crack your spine and all that sort of stuff. Now, weight-bearing exercises or resistance training create mechanical stress on your bones, and that sends a signal to your body to actually strengthen them.
Strengthen my bones, God damn it, strengthen my bones.
So your bones are talking to you all the time. They're sending messages all around. I need more strength. She's doing more lifting. She's holding more. So you could come across women that are in their 60s or 70s that are very, very frail. And then you come across women in their 50s and 60s and 70s who are dynamite, strong as. And the difference usually 90% of the time is because one has been physically active, using resistance, staying strong, whereas the other person has potentially done no exercise and nothing resistance wise anyway, and has lost all their strength.
You don't need to say I'm too old to start. That is absolute bullshit. You can start 70, 80, 90 years of age. You can increase your bone density up. This is scientifically proven. There's studies that have been proven to show this. Women, just by doing their weight training or resistance training, can increase bone density 1 to 2% per year after menopause. Now, come on. Any increase in bone density is a great thing. So what's the best exercises?
So you want to do exercises like deadlifts and squats because they target the spine and the hips and the legs. And these are key areas of the body that are prone to fractures. So you've got to be using your legs. It's so important. Then you want to do like weighted carries or like carrying things for your upper body.
Like my weighted vest, carry that. Like I said to you before, like I had my bone, what is it called? Can't even think. Bone scan earlier this year, right? Osteopenia of the spine. I need to start doing some strength training. I struggle with fatigue issues. I struggle with too much lactate acid in my body. So I have to find something. So I'm walking every day, and now I've just added a resistance. That's carrying some weight.
And you've got those red bags, like sandbags, that you can put over your shoulders and strap it over here. You just want to add weight to your body.
Yeah, put a backpack with a couple of cans of food in it.
Yeah, and the other thing you can do, which is even simpler, is things like step-ups onto a bench or onto a low ledge and work your way up to higher and higher. Walking lunges, because for weight-bearing movements, that these ones strengthen the lower body bones. And that's really where we need to focus. So using your body, using strength in your legs, and trying to add some weight, like the weight.
If you've got some steps at home and they're not too high, like not these big benches that you see in parks because we don't want you to fall over, little steps at home, you could do 20 step-ups, 5 step-ups. You could do your reps, like your weights. If you're going to put your backpack on top, you could do like your reps of 4, your reps of 6, 8, and 12 with some weight.
Even with some hand weights in your hands, you can hold on to that step up and down. Now, the other thing is you've got hormonal benefits of resistance training. So what it does is resistance training doesn't just impact the muscles and the bones. It helps you to regulate cortisol. And that supports other hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, which are very important for muscle repair and recovery. So growth hormone is one of the most important hormones to help stimulate strength growth, like muscle growth, which is not growth as in size, but the density of your muscles, which is going to make you stronger and is going to make you feel more firm and less squishy. So we
Now,
definitely
I now
want
want to know, tell me all about cortisol and resistance training, because this is one of the favorite topics for me.
that.
Hey,
So unlike long cardio sessions, resistance training tends to produce short, controlled spikes of cortisol and followed by a significant reduction post exercise. So you do get cortisol when you're exercising, when you're doing the strength training or resistance, but it drops quite quickly after exercising. Now, the temporary increase helps to mobilize energy and
yes.
stimulates the adaptations, which without will causing the chronic elevation, which you see when you're doing lots and lots of cardio. And the chronic elevation means that you spike your cortisol so high, you struggle to sleep, your stress levels increase, you hold on to more body fat, all of those things that happen. Whereas with the resistance training, you don't have that side effect. You just get a good burst for energy and then it goes away.
So what do we do with cardio?
We'll get to the cardio.
Oh, okay. All right. I wanted to get, you know what I'm like. I just want to get there.
So resistance training, awesome for cortisol. And we all know cortisol is so important, right? Now, there was a study that they did in a psychology journal, which found that women who engaged in moderate intensity strength training twice a week experienced lower baseline cortisol levels and therefore reduced stress symptoms compared to people who didn't.
And guess what? That means that our belly fat starts to go away. Like less cardio, more weights, skinnier tummies. Booyah! Okay.
And then, of course, you got your testosterone and your growth hormone. So postmenopausal women have really low levels of anabolic hormones like testosterone and growth hormone. And that contributes to muscle maintenance and fat burning.
Yes, fat burning, ladies.
Yeah,
it's
so
not your fault that the fat's not coming off. It's the bloody testosterone and the growth hormone.
So, resistance training helps to stimulate the release of these hormones. And that can help to hopefully kind of offset some of the natural decline that's happening, right?
Yeah.
But strength training is so important. I hope that you've seen that because holy shit, I've given you so many things. It also boosts your metabolism and your fat burning. Like muscle tissue burns calories at rest, right?
We did speak about that.
Like you sit around doing nothing and you're burning calories because you got muscle. Like if Ursh and I were twins and I was a bodybuilder and Ursh did no exercise whatsoever, we'd sit on the couch and she would be burning less calories than me because I have more muscle. And so the more fatty tissue you have, the less calories you're burning. And the more muscle tissue you have, the more calories you're burning.
That's your metabolic rate. This is what's so important. People don't understand it. When the muscle's up, metabolic rate is up.
So
okay.
I think it said that I wrote this thing as well as research. Oh, there was the Obesity Review, which is a book. Always love to think anything with obesity in it, right? Revealed that women who performed strength training for 12 weeks experienced a 7% increase in metabolism and reduced abdominal fat.
Listen to that again. 12
weeks.
A 7% increase in metabolism and reduced abdominal fat. Abdominal fat is one of the biggest concerns women address when they join our club. I just want to get rid of my gut. Weight training. Okay.
And that reduction was without changing their nutrition. That was purely by doing resistance training. It wasn't because they went on a diet. This is purely based on exercise.
Okay, number two.
Number two.
We're moving on to cardiovascular exercise because I tried to jump the gun. Remember that?
You did. Okay. Because you got excited.
I did get excited a little bit. This is really good stuff.
It's really important to know. Like so many, I'm sure that a lot of you already, you just didn't realize some of the stuff. You kind of heard bits of it, but actually understanding it and putting it together, it's massive. So cardio, let's talk about cardio.
The three.
Excellent for heart health.
Number one. Okay, number two.
Great. Calorie burning.
Number three.
And moods.
Mood regulation, people. Mood regulation.
But it's important to get the right balance, especially for women in midlife, which basically means through menopause, right? So if you're in your 40s and to 60s, especially, you really got to get the balance right because excessive cardiovascular exercise can actually work against you by increasing the
cortisol levels. Like your cortisol levels, we've got to bring those babies down. It's the stress hormone that leads to increased belly fat. Oh,
it's like
don't want cortisol, don't want it. Okay, so let's break cortisol down because so many, oh gosh,
Crash.
it's like, stop talking. That's what that reminder was.
Okay.
So let's break cortisol down. So many people have heard it. They don't know what it is. They don't know anything about it.
Okay, so cortisol is actually released by your adrenal glands in response to stress.
It's a hormone.
You know, like when people say when your adrenaline pumps up, you get that adrenaline hit, that's your cortisol being released. It increases your physical stress for prolonged or high, including the physical stress of prolonged high intensity exercise. So for people that are going to the gym and doing say 2 or 3 classes in a row,
or even
bang,
7
bang,
classes
bang,
a week,
and just smashing out high cardio, high cardio, high cardio, high cardio, high cardio, high cardio all the time.
look at me, look at me, look at me. We have been those people.
Yeah,
so
totally
we're not judging. We're just highlighting that might be a reason your gut's not going down. And that might be a reason why you're a little bit grumpy. That's got to be a reason why Ursh no longer does 3 classes a day. Not good for you.
So, I mean, just as
Not
an
good for your
example for
cortisol.
us, we were teaching at least 15 classes every week. And we were
10
eating
years.
really, really well. Like we're not junk food eaters. We don't do takeaways and stuff. We generally eat everything we've made at home. I mean, we're not saints, but we're apps. We don't drink. We don't sit and eat chocolate every day and biscuits and cakes and all that stuff. We eat well. Now, to do 15 high intensity cardio sessions and eat really well and still not be anorexic, there's something wrong, right? Like seriously, I should have been anorexic. I used to say to her all the time, I can't believe it. I should be anorexic for the amount
Like
of
I'm the
exercise I
same
do.
weight now that I was 10 years ago when I was doing 15 classes a week. Same weight. I'm not even, the only classes I'm teaching now is yin yoga. And again, you'll hear about why because of that.
It's coming up.
Like I just, I'm really cautious about elevating the cortisol levels. I want to be able to say in parasympathetic, I can't afford to have elevated cortisol levels. Not necessarily because of the fat loss for me, but for stress levels, right? And bringing the body into rest and digest instead of fight or flight. So if you're constantly on the go, you're getting up really early, you're going to bed really late, which is the lifestyle that we led for well over 10 years, your body is going to struggle to lose fat. That's what you need to know. Okay.
So basically, consistently high cortisol levels can cause increased fat storage, right? Especially around the abdomen. But also muscle breakdown, which is counteracting the benefits of the strength and resistance training that we've just talked about. So now you're building muscle on one end, and then you're doing all this high cardio, and you're stripping it on the other. So you come out with zero, if not
and you're
less.
also coming out with fatigue a lot of the time.
Yep, and you get poor sleep, you get mood swings, you get fatigue. So high cortisol is not your friend. You want to reduce your cortisol. It's really important. And there was another journal, another study from a journal of obesity. Again, I love that. Such a horrible word. Found that women in midlife who performed more than 5 hours of high intensity cardio per week experienced higher cortisol levels and an 8% increase in abdominal fat.
Jesus, that makes me cringe. Like, no wonder we couldn't get rid of our gut. No wonder we had to be on starvation diet for most of our damn life. Oh my God.
So
like 8%. I eat more than I've ever eaten in my whole life right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't go on. So imagine 8% more abdominal fat in 6 months just compared to women who didn't do it and who were in a balanced, moderate cardio with strength training.
No wonder you've highlighted this.
Recovery and focus.
I didn't even know this stat, so I'm glad that you actually pulled this stat up for us today.
It's huge.
Like, that's massive. If you were doing 5 hours of cardio, like, we were averaging a minimum of 20 hours a week. A minimum.
Like for fun on a Sunday, we'd get up at 5 a.m. and do a 100K cycle because, that had to be our cardio for the day. Like, honestly.
Why didn't I know all of this back then?
Exactly.
Like it was
young and dumb.
Yeah, young and dumb.
There you go, young and dumb. Now, I wanted to just point out, this doesn't mean that just want to point out that it doesn't mean that cardio is bad. It just means that the quality and the duration matters. So instead of long sessions on high intensity workouts, you need to look at changing that to do more moderate intensity cardio.
No more than 45 minutes. No more than 45 minutes. Like
at least 20 minutes, but no more than 45.
Yeah, probably 20 to 30 would be ideal.
20 to 30 minutes. things like brisk walks or your more low impact sort of classes. There's no reason you can't do things like fight dough and you can't do things like spin, depending on what the intensity. But you wouldn't want to go and do like a spin class and then go for a 5K run and then come back and do
Yes,
another
you would,
class.
because what's our stats?
You
I
want
want to be able to have
8%.
8% increase in my fat, in my gut.
So
Oh my God, I'm mortified by this. Like, I can't believe for years we thought that we could out exercise our body.
yeah,
And we were actually contributing to fat storing. What?
dun, dun.
This is why we're so passionate about sharing this. Okay.
And you need to be doing this at least 5 days a week. So, you look at your watch, if you've got an Apple Watch or a Fitbit and you're looking at 10,000 steps a day, it's about actually being active and moving most days of the week and doing cardio. Like you can do cardio every day as long as it's moderate, not high intensity, right?
And if you're living in a fight or flight as well, your cortisol levels are already, elevated. So if you're working a really hard-ass job, you've got kids at home and a husband that maybe you need to feed, right? Then you're going to be struggling with high cortisol levels at the best of times. Chuck on a class without doing a nice little yin yoga or without doing meditation and without balancing your cortisol or without balancing your nervous system is dysregulated, your cortisol is elevated, boom, belly fat.
Now, I'm also not saying that interval training is out of the question. It just shouldn't be high intensity all the time. So you can do interval training maybe once, maximum twice in a week. I would say once, and doing like 1.5 minutes of moderate effort, followed by 20, 30 second high intensity. So instead of just high intensity rest, high intensity rest, high intensity rest, it's more moderate, 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 moderate. Oh, we'll do 5 burpees. And then moderate, 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 moderate. Oh, we'll do 5 floor to ceiling jumps where you can elevate that heart rate, but not doing it for long, long periods of time. 20-minute workout, that's it, no more. That will increase your heart health and it won't overstimulate the cortisol if it's only done like once, maximum twice a week.
And more evidence is coming out now for even less high intensity. So instead of doing 30 seconds, there's things coming out 8 seconds.
Yeah.
8 seconds of fast, intense, and then up to a minute recovery. So if you haven't exercised before, now's your time, baby.
Yeah.
Like now's your time. You could do anything because it's what level you're at. Like your only challenge is the person in the mirror. It's not the person who's been going to the gym for 20 years, right? It's you against you. All right.
And then low impact exercise like cardio stuff like swimming, dancing is great because it's gentle on your joints and less likely to elevate your cortisol excessively. So just keeping those low impact things like doing your booty classes, doing your dancing classes, all those kind of stuff, things that are nice and gentle on your body. And finally, you must always pair your cardio with recovery activities like yin yoga or stretching, which also lowers your cortisol levels. And remember, if you are feeling drained, instead of energized after a workout, it's usually a signal that you need to scale back or you need to switch up your routine or what you're doing. Because that's your body telling you that it can't cope with what you're doing with it. And that's also can be very personal. That's not everybody's the same. Just because Jane did it that way doesn't mean that you can.
And another little tip that we've always shared with our personal training clients is check your resting heart rate every morning. Like check your resting heart rate. If it's starting to elevate, that is an indicator that your body's under stress. You're either getting sick, run down, or your body is highly stressed. So if that's elevating, then that could be a time just to give some more self-love, self-care, maybe go out for a walk, maybe do your resistance training that day, maybe do your yin restorative yoga or flexibility, nice quiet time. If it's going up and up and up, you're going to start to store body fat because the cortisol level, that's an indicator. Cortisol is up.
Going up.
Okay.
Now we wanted to talk about balance and flexibility as well.
Number 3.
This is another part of your exercise. Is menopause brings shifts in flexibility and joint health.
Does it what?
All right.
Does that what?
And balance.
Have you tried to get off the couch lately? Or when you get out of bed, it's like, what? Oh my gosh, I'm feeling old. Don't say that, by the way. You need to be able to get out of bed and say, I feel fucking fantastic. Even if you don't feel it, just keep telling your body, I feel fantastic.
And it's all because of estrogen, right? This is not because you're getting old. It's your estrogen levels are dropping. So incorporating yin yoga into your routine offers a unique and effective way to address the challenges while you're still supporting your body and your mind. So do you want to explain, if you're the yin yoga specialist, do you want to explain what is yin yoga?
No.
Okay.
You go, because I'm trying to keep us on point, not doing a 50-minute.
Yin yoga
It's hard work.
is a slow meditative practice that focuses on holding poses for extended periods of time. So you'll go into a pose, most of them are on the floor, so you'll be lying or sitting down on a mat, and you'll typically hold a pose for 2 to 5 minutes. Now, unlike the other dynamic yogas, which are more the yang, the masculine yogas, yin targets the deep connective tissue, and such as like the ligaments and the joints and the fascia, rather than the muscles. So instead of
Sam, that was really good.
Nice,
Like, that was really good. It takes you from fight or flight to rest and digest. It helps with a dysregulated nervous system. Like, it helps with anxiety. There's so many benefits. Like,
it's fantastic because it's not only physically supportive, but it's also mental.
think of it as a restorative practice. Not yoga. Yoga is very masculine, holding and being really strong. Nothing wrong with yoga, and I encourage a lot of people from a flexibility and mobility. However, if your main aim is weight loss and you are doing a lot of cardio, right, and you're wanting to bring those cortisol levels down, yin is your plan. Because when you go into yoga, if you're trying to hold or do the downward dog and your body is like, if you're struggling to breathe, cortisol is on the way up. It's on the way up. That's your body trying to get rid of stress and regulate. Okay.
All right. So what are the benefits? Benefits of yin yoga for women with, especially menopausal women. One, improved joint health and flexibility. Because during menopause, joints can feel really stiff because you start reducing the amount of collagen that you produce. And with those hormone changes, everything goes up the good. And yin yoga will help to stretch the fascia and the connective tissue. So that improves your joint mobility. So you're not so stiff. And it also promotes the synovial fluid, which is the fluid in your joints.
Yes.
So, like they get fluid in the joints. So you might not realize this, but there's fluid in your knee joints. So when your knee moves like this in the joint, it's got nice fluid in there. But
that's a cushion. Think of it. Well, not really.
It lubricates the joint.
Yes.
It's like having oil in there, keeping it going smooth, which is really important because once you start to get arthritic and you're not using it, right, you lose it and the fluid goes less.
Grind, baby.
So research has shown that regular yin yoga practice can improve flexibility by 30% over 3 months.
Yes.
Particularly in your hips, your back, and your hamstrings, which are 3 vital areas, because we know that when women fall in their older age because of lack of balance and they have, say, poor bone density, it's hips and back that are most likely, and wrists, but hips and back that are most likely affected. So if you can have stronger, more flexible hip, back, and hamstrings, you're more likely to be more balanced, therefore have less falls, and therefore hopefully not break anything. So that's yay. Next one is stress reduction and your nervous system regulation.
Because it's really dysregulated. Like anxiety, we spoke to you about this before. Anxiety starts to elevate, the heart rate starts to elevate. With the mood, what's the mood thing? Not mood, mind thing. When we've got brain fog, that elevates our stress levels. We start really bullying and beating ourselves up. We start getting confused. We start isolating ourselves. We're starting to live more in shame and isolation. So that is another contributing factor to dysregulating your nervous system, along with the cortisol elevation. Really, really normal. So what were we going to say?
So because yin yoga has that sort of prolonged meditative state, right? So it's very relaxing. It naturally activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. So it takes you from that fight or flight into a rest and digest. And it helps to reduce the cortisol levels. And it's specifically important to manage menopausal symptoms like anxiety, insomnia.
Yeah, that's a biggie.
And mood swings. So if you're struggling with any of those things, you need to get yourself into an environment which encourages the fight or flight to piss off. Right.
Did you hear that? The piss off was in fight or flight.
and then relax. And a lot of ladies that come out of yin, they've fallen asleep slightly in the meditation, or they feel completely relaxed and they can't wait to go home on a Monday night
I
and
just
just go to
say, I
bed.
just had the best night's sleep. That's because the cortisol is starting to, instead of elevating, it's decreasing. So you're not going to bed in a highly stressed state.
And there was another study that they did in 2002
I love these studies you
that
put up
found, oh no,
today.
I
This
found
is
lots of
good.
these,
You're
found
good.
that women who practiced yin yoga twice a week for 8 weeks experienced a 45% reduction in perceived stress levels and improved sleep quality. That's big.
This is huge.
Oh,
It's huge because this is one of our biggest complaints at the club, along with belly fat, is I can't sleep anymore. So 45%, is that a high enough stat for you to start adding that to your routine?
bloody
So you're going to
windy.
get a smaller tummy and you're going to sleep better and you're going to not be as stressed.
Whew, sounds bloody good to me.
This is why I teach it. This is what like, even through all of my medical conditions, with chronic fatigue, with autoimmune, with liver disease, all of those things, I went straight in and I got certified in teaching yin yoga because I knew right at the beginning that I needed to balance my nervous system. Now, in the last 12 months, I'm like, I need to get the cortisol down. What else? What's the research? Talk to me. Comes back, yin, yin, yin. Please don't get confused. Yoga is also good from a resistance training perspective as well. Lots of balancing and coordination. A lot of women, in our experience at the club, struggle more with yoga. So think of yin yoga like a meditative practice. It's lengthening the ligaments in the body, therefore less injury, and it's also calming the mind, therefore less cortisol, more weight loss.
Fantastic. Smaller stomach. Go to yin yoga and get a flatter tummy. There you go.
I have a lot of people are doing Fight Dough followed by yin yoga.
It's
So they're
perfect.
doing the hardcore, right? Getting the heart health, not the fat health, the heart health better. And then they're reducing the stress in the mind, helping lactate acid relax, calm. And then by the time they go home, they're a whole different level.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. And the thing is, like, yin yoga does support hormonal health, not specifically, but because you're reducing your stress levels, that and improving your sleep, and it encourages more mindfulness, you have more control over your stress. And
Huge.
Chronic stress can most definitely exacerbate hormonal fluctuations. So if
Most
you're
people don't
stressed
know
out,
that.
your menopause is going to be way worse for people that are highly stressed than it is on average for people that are not.
Yeah,
So
I guess yin yoga, it acts as a restorative practice, which counteracts that. That's really important. Okay,
And
look,
then
I've looked at the time. We're on 42 minutes.
we're
Let's
nearly
just
there. So
okay.
and the other thing is we talked about balance and preventing falls. So if you're more coordinated because you've increased your flexibility and your body is equal and even and everything is moving the way it should be moving, you're less likely to fall over and you'll be more stable, which is really important. And then we just wanted to look at your bone health. This was the other area that strength training, cardiovascular training and strength training makes a difference too. So strength training is a game changer because it helps to build stronger muscles so you have less osteoporosis and less fractures. So
important.
this is insane. One in two women over 50 will experience a bone fracture. So between Ush and I, one of us is potentially going to get a bone fracture due to osteoporosis. So making proactive measures of doing strength training and getting the right cardiovascular training is so important. And strength training, specifically weight bearing exercises like, wearing the weighted vest and going for a walk, doing step ups, doing walking lunges, doing the squats with weights in your hands, those are going to improve your bone density dramatically.
That's so important, ladies. I can't emphasize how important this podcast is and the knowledge that you're going to gain from this.
So I think the one thing I wanted to let you know was that postmenopausal women who do resistance training at least twice a week for 6 months increase their bone density by 2.5%. That doesn't sound like a lot. You think 2.5, 2 to 5%. Now, if you look at that improvement through your spine and your hips, it's massive because then they compared it to women that weren't doing strength training. And
Yes.
they lost on average 1%
So when you
during
look at
that
those
time.
stats, where are you investing your time so that you can age gracefully and with more mobility? Because there's nothing worse than aging restricted. Like that's life over. The moment you have a fall, it's like game over. There's no more movement. The mobility is no longer there. You end up being real frail. Your anxiety escalates. You don't want to go and do things that you used to be able to do. You're no longer capable of showing up as the person that you want to be. It has a massive impact on every area of your life. Oh, this is such a good one. I'm glad we've got the stats here to back up what we're saying.
Yeah, and I think I just wanted to sort of summarize it a bit for you. Like, what is a good combination of exercise in a week? What
Yeah.
seems about right? So,
Mm.
the experts out there recommend combining weight-bearing activities and resistance training and then getting your cardio done. So, how much should you do? Resistance training, which is using like weight machines and weights, like lifting weights. I recommend 2 to 3 times a week.
So again, if you're used to going to the gym, you need to be in the 3
Yeah.
category. If you've got the time. If you're new and your body may struggle initially, or if this is something that is really challenging for you to do, start with the 1 to 2. But ideally, knowing all the research that we've just presented to you, you want to be getting towards the 3.
Yeah. And then your weight bearing cardios, like weighted vest walks, maybe a backpack with some weight on it, walking up hills, walking upstairs, being on a stair climber, putting the treadmill on a higher, like an incline, about 30 to 60 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. So you don't always want to walk around the block on the flat. So if you are a walker, try not to always do it on the flat, but Ush wears a weighted vest.
Yeah, and I have feet condition, like again, the same thing. I modify what works for me and my body at the time. So I find things I can do rather than focusing on the things I can't do. So, we've got a running challenge at our club at the moment. Now, with my feet in the current position that I'm in now, I'm not going to be able to run. It's just not going to be an option. I'm not going to be able to totally commit to 100% of the weight training program. Doesn't mean I'm out. It means I can focus on the things that I can do with my body right now. It doesn't mean I delete everything, which is what we hear. It's very common. Oh, I can't do that. I've got a sore wrist.
What's wrong with your legs?
Like, we just don't get it. So don't fall trap into making your excuses your story. You can either have excuses or you can live and age gracefully. You can't have both. You can't. You've got to do one or the other. Invest time, effort, and energy into your future self now. That's important.
Yeah. And then with the strength, the yin yoga, the flexibility, you need to do that at least 1 to 2 a week. I would recommend twice, especially if you're in that menopausal stage because you're stiff and you're sore and your joints are not happy. We need to increase that flexibility.
And if you're in a highly stressful state, like if you've got a lot going on and you're busy, and you're struggling with sleep and you're constantly craving sugar and you just feel like you're going to burst, you need to be doing it 3 to 5 times a week. So I recommend my one-on-one clients, like I personal train clients one-on-one with Yin, also have coaching clients from a mindset perspective. The first thing I do is get them into a practice. I'm just like, you need to just calm down, like start listening to the music, start doing a practice to slow the body down, especially if weight loss is one of your main aims and it's around the tummy. Think cortisol. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap things up here. Look at that. But what I wanted to leave you with was a really powerful reminder that exercise is your ally during menopause.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed by changes happening in your body. But the truth is, you have the power to take control and feel better.
Yes.
You can do
It's the power. That's what you just sing to yourself every morning. I've got the power. I could put a dance routine to that.
You could do that. And then movement, whether it's strength training, cardio training, doing your flexibility exercises, they all have a profound effect on reducing your symptoms, boosting your energy, and improving your overall health. So by committing to regular exercise, you're not just managing your symptoms, you're actually empowering yourself to feel strong, vibrant. And in control. And that's the biggest thing we hear, that people just feel like that everything is completely out of control.
This is the shit you can control. Don't focus on the shit you can't. That stuff will take you out.
And every step that you take, every workout that you complete is one step towards feeling your best.
And your future self is seriously doing a happy dance because you're showing up for yourself now.
So, I guess keep moving forward. Stay consistent. Consistency is really important. And know that with each workout, you're taking back control and embracing a healthier, more energetic version of yourself.
I know you got this. Have you got this? Tell us in the comments if you've got this. What we'd love to know is if you've got any questions, if you start an exercise program, if you're doing an exercise program, but most importantly, what was your biggest takeaway from today? Because your feedback made this episode possible. So if there's more things that you really want insight about, some science about, knowledge about, if we don't know, we'll find it.
We will.
All right, until next week, don't forget to go and sprinkle some magic on someone. You don't know who needs your loving right now. See you, everybody.